Hey, just Mark here. All right, so in today's video, I want to talk about 2024 and what I lost and what I'm going to be doing in 2025 to improve my life, make it better. So let's start here. I mean, January 1st of 2024 was New Year's that I experienced unlike no other, because I woke up, my house was completely empty, and for the first time in 7 years, I was alone. And going forward from there, I was definitely depressed and sad, and wondering where my life was going to go from there. So when I think about that day and I think about 2024 as a whole, I understand that it wasn't easy. I had recently gone through, started a little separation had just started, and I was waking up to the realization that I may never see my stepkids again, just because I did agree to not contact them or anything like that after my separation, which is totally understandable. I had lost what I thought was my family, and I'm 47 now and don't know if I'm ever going to be able to build upon that again. And little did I know on that day that the coming couple months, we had just sold our home, so we're at the possession date, and over the course of the next month, I was sitting there and focusing strictly on packing and getting ready to move on to the next stage of my life. I had a place to live that I was moving into, which was great, and after that, I spent 2024 just healing myself. So there was not a ton of forward movement. But as the coming month went along, I was finishing the final pieces of everything I'd lost. The only thing that had kind of stayed the same in my life was that I kept my job, thankfully. But I lost my family. I had to sell my home, so I lost the first home I ever bought, and man, I worked hard to save money to buy that home, and now I was stuck with not owning a home. And so battling the depression early on was a little bit difficult, and so I decided that 2024 was going to be a year of healing after losing what was important to me. Another piece that I lost was my own identity. For 7 years, I built my identity as a step-parent, helping to raise a couple of great kids. And now I had to figure out who Mark was without his family identity or bonus dad identity. And that was really, really difficult, because prior to that relationship, I was single for about five and a half years, and I loved my life. There were parts of it that I would have liked better, absolutely, but I liked the life that I had. And even when I transitioned down to the family, there are parts that I love, parts that I absolutely despised, but I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to talk about the negative stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over somewhere, maybe grab some lunch, and I'm going to go on to the parts of my life where 2025 and things I'm doing to make my life better, to reset some goals, and honestly, I'm excited for it. And this video is helping me to be accountable for those goals. So I'm going to leave the rest of the video up to future Mark when he's not driving, because that in itself is a challenge. Alright, future Mark here. Alright, so I want to kind of discuss what I'm doing going forward to improve my life in 2025. So let's start with taking better care of myself. So I need to start actually, walking more, going to the gym, which is something I definitely put off in 2024. I just had no motivation. I did my dog on walks, and sometimes I was getting up to 20,000 steps a day, but that wasn't enough. Well, I shouldn't say it wasn't enough. I was losing a little bit of weight, but I really need to get active again. I would like to go running, which is what I used to do for years. In fact, I've completed a couple marathons, a bunch of half marathons. So this is some stuff that I'm motivated to do in my future, and I would love to do another Run Disney event, which is something I did a few times, which I loved. And I'll post a little picture up here just of one of my finishes. But yeah, so taking better care of myself, that includes exercise, that includes eating better, not eating out as much. And maybe a bad example because I'm at Subway right now. Get myself some lunch because I'm hungry and I needed to eat because I couldn't think straight. So second thing I'm doing to improve my life in 2025 is I'm focusing more on the financials. So 2024, obviously I sold my house. I got a little bit of money set aside from that. I put that together with in a savings account that I'm leaving strictly for buying a home. I do need to save a lot more money, probably another, I'd like to save another 40 grand, 50 grand to buy a house, to be honest, just to make it affordable. I do live in Calgary, which the price of homes here is absolutely, it's wild. They have gone down a little bit in the last little bit, but I still want to save as much as I can before I buy. And my rental situation is very good right now, so I can't complain. My budget is good in the sense that I've refocused it here in the first part of the new year, and I'm forcing myself to actually put aside $40 a day to automatic investments through Wealthsimple. And that is allowing me to save some money and forget it, set it and forget it. So, Wealthsimple is great to use. That's just my opinion, not sponsored for that. But financially speaking, I do need to focus more on saving and less on, don't want to say impulse purchases, but I've made a lot more purchases in the last year than I really would like to have. That I probably could have done without, so I could have waited on. I used to have a financial budget that said, every dollar has a job, which means I was net zero at the end of every paycheck. And when I was net zero at the end of every payday, that meant, some went to savings, some went to free spending, some that went to obviously bills, rent, credit card debt, anything I was paying. And I'm refocusing on that as well. So that when my 2 weeks, when I pay every 2 weeks, it's going to go somewhere. So financially speaking, I'm honestly focusing on just making my savings better, and I'm forcing it by an automatic transfer every day. So that's how I'm starting anyway. And so hopefully we'll see where I am at in a year, and hopefully I can buy a house next year. Oh, don't mind that person walking behind me. So yeah, the next thing is, and I kind of mentioned this before in the financial part, is less eating out. Right now, yes, I am at Subway and I'm getting myself a sub, but I really need to make some changes. 2024, I spent way too much money eating out. I had zero motivation to cook or do anything of that ilk, and I do love cooking, which is something I've loved for years. I need to get back into that. I need to get back into meal planning. So in terms of being able to do that $40 a day, it comes back to less eating out. Because, man, you eat out now. Subway was $17 today for a foot-long sub with a drink and a bag of chips. So, less eating out, because also it's not healthy for me. I really should be eating better. I haven't been eating healthy for quite some time, and I need to fix that. So I'm just adjusting the camera here so I don't get too many people in the video as they're walking by. And going from there. I'm actually just going to pause this right now and start recording on here. Oh, okay, never mind. They're gone. The other thing that I need to do, and this is part of also being, doing YouTube. Sorry, I'm gonna switch this here. So, as a part of doing YouTube, I do need better time management. So I need to start scheduling time to record videos, edit, and upload. And this goes back into the other part of my life, getting off work and being motivated enough to find time to go to the gym. I do find time to take my dog for walks. I take better care of her, I think, sometimes than I do myself. But I need to get to a point where I know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. Since I started this YouTube channel, I have strictly been, uploading videos daily for my attitude of gratitude, which I think I'm going to change, but that's for another video. But I want to move forward and actually schedule time, make this a priority, because I haven't made it a priority. I've been strictly stuck on focusing on just trying new videos, and it's not allowing me time to be creating something better quality or standard that I'm setting for myself. One of the last things that I'm going to focus on here in 2025 is a bit of a better attitude towards my job. I do have a job that I actually enjoy, but I do work in a call center, and sometimes the stress gets to me a bit. And when your customers are angry and yelling at you, my job also requires a lot of structure, and I am not very good at structure. That's one of the biggest challenges I have with work. And even with some of the other jobs I've had in the past, I don't like too much structure. I like the flexibility. For those of you who've never worked in a call center, you quite literally have like your breaks are very, very rigid, and you don't want to go over or miss or be late. You know, your schedule is very rigid. You want to stick to that schedule, and there's not a lot of flexibility. I mean, we do get personal time and other things we can utilize during our day, but I do need to change my attitude when it comes to work, because there's days that I'm just downright negative, angry, and I think part of that is I'm not managing myself well, or even managing my stress outside of work, and that goes back to the fitness thing. You know, I used to love swimming, so I need to do that. In 2025, I just want to be better and be more committed to myself and to what I'm doing. The other thing I'm doing in 2025 is focusing a bit on travel. I have always wanted to travel to various destinations, and last year I went to Cuba and I went to Italy. You know, and I think going in 2025 there'll be another Europe trip and possibly a few other things to go off of that. But I'm making it a priority, because in years past my travel interests weren't a priority, and I focused on other people's interests and what they wanted to do, which also even limited my time in certain vacations and even the destinations I wanted to go on. So 2025 is going to be a good year. I'm focusing really hard on just being better, and I want to look back on this video in a year and say, hey, I got this, look what I did, look what I accomplished. So there's just a few things that I'm making 2025 better after losing everything. I'm not going to gain everything back. I'm not out dating, and I'm not trying to find a family, but I am focusing primarily on what interests me most, and the things that I know that made me happy years ago. Before I got into a relationship and when I was single, because I was single for 5.5 years and I enjoyed my time. So yeah, so here's a little cheers to 2025, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe, please make some comments for me. I would love to respond and see what other people are doing to make 2025 their year. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.